I think this is going to be a good week to see are the Patriots, are they back? With Tennessee coming in, who has a great defense. I'm still not sold on their offense without Derrick Henry, but they still won some games without him. It's going to be a good test for them to see are the Patriots this imposing force, and then when they have 2 games against the Bills still coming up, and this Tennessee game, it could be complete opposite in 5 weeks.
Happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at Big Man Bets, including the Hall of Famer, the left tackle, the greatest show on turf, a man who has been through some odd coaching firings, Orlando Pace, and the 7-time Pro Bowler, New York Jet for life, a man who's got his own special turkey dinner that he's going to share with us, I hope, and Nick Mangold as well. Guys, it is Thanksgiving week, and we're putting the Lions on blast at the start of this. If Big Man Bets was the commissioner of the NFL, Nick, should the Detroit Lions, who are coming in winless with a tie to play Chicago at 11:30, and no one's interested in this game at all, should they be banned from Thanksgiving? Should we relegate the Lions from Turkey Day?
No, I don't think we should relegate them. There's something very iconic about the Cowboys and the Lions playing on Thanksgiving. I remember I played one of the games I played in Dallas, and it had a special feel to it. So while they stink, and it doesn't help that the Bears stink too, that it's going to be a terrible game. I don't think we should get rid of it. I like the tradition. I like having the third game now. Having a full slate of NFL football on Turkey Day is fantastic. And it's good. I know it's going to be a terrible game, but it's still going to be on, and I'm still going to watch it. And I think that's kind of the part, like, it's almost, as you're doing all the prep and you're trying to get ready for the dinner, that's the showcase. You almost kind of don't want a very interesting game, because then, you got to sit there and pay attention and watch it. So having, a game that you don't really care about, and can have on in the background, so that way, like, if a big play happens and they show the replay, you can catch it, but you don't have to watch it, intently.
Yeah, I think outside of Detroit, I actually like the tradition as well. It's almost like an appetizer before the main course and dessert in terms of football. It's probably on everybody's background on Thanksgiving Day. Nobody really has interest outside of it other than, the 2 teams that's really playing. And it's not going to be a good game 9 times out of 10, but, you don't really want to pay attention because you're doing so much prep work for Thanksgiving anyway. But it is good to have on, see a few plays here and there. But I don't think anybody, I know I won't, it'll be on in the background because it is part of tradition, who the Lions are playing at the time. But, it doesn't make a big deal. I don't know if it has. Matter of fact, this game this year doesn't have any playoff implications. So I just want to see some good football in between, doing my husbandly duties and probably doing some snacking also. So.
Orlando, do guys want to play on Thanksgiving, or is that like, oh man, I can't believe I got to spend Turkey Day at least partly away from my family?
I've been fortunate, so I've never played on Thanksgiving. So for me, it never really mattered. I probably would hate playing, and not so much the game, but just traveling. If you're not playing for, I did pay for, the Lions or the Cowboys. I would hate traveling, getting home late, eating, having to reheat my dinner later on that night or something like that, or having Thanksgiving the day before. So I would hate that part. Maybe Nick can speak to the, because he said he did play in Dallas one Thanksgiving. So I've never had that happen to me, but I'm not sure I would like it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think if I played 2 or 3 times. I can guarantee 2. One was the incident, and then the other was in Dallas. So I know that there was at least 2 times. And actually playing on Thanksgiving, I enjoyed a lot. It was weird because, you move everything. But when you don't play on Thanksgiving, you have that Sunday game after Thanksgiving. You don't really have a true Thanksgiving. You don't wake up in the morning with nothing to do. You still have to go in and go to work and get your practice in. Usually it was a shorter day anytime that we weren't playing on Thanksgiving. It was a shorter day. We were out by noon or 1. But when you don't get to be able to wake up, see the parade in the background, watch football all day long while you're prepping and eating your meal, you kind of miss out on the true Thanksgiving. And obviously you don't really understand that until you're out of the league and you're not playing anymore. But when you're able to play on Thanksgiving, you get that 3-day weekend. You can move Thanksgiving to the next day. You still have family that comes in. Everyone just kind of switches around. Obviously, you don't have the parade. I think we ended up taping it. And so we tried to do like the true, hey, listen, we're a day later. And it was actually really nice because it was a calming Thanksgiving that you usually don't get in a normal season.
Was the incident discussed at belated turkey dinner?
No, that was such a beatdown. I don't even think we mentioned the word football at all that weekend. Like that was such an ugly game, and there were so many bad things. I mean, obviously the incident stands out as the biggest bad thing, but there were so many other bad things that happened that game that we kind of forgot about football for the weekend and enjoyed the time.
See, that would be the tough part. If you lose on Thanksgiving Day, like, dude, going home, you're supposed, it's the holidays, you're supposed to be upbeat in spirit, and you're worried about, if you're the Lions, man, year in, year out, you're losing on that. I mean, that has to suck as a Thanksgiving Day holiday, if you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't want that feeling of a loss. Like, when you lose on a Sunday, you got to go back to work Monday. You're right back. The new week starts after you get done watching the film. You kind of turn it off. But it's one of those things where when you do get the opportunity to have that full day where you don't have to wake up, you don't have to go in the facility, you get to spend the whole day with your family. You're able kind of to just put it aside, and like, it's kind of the same way, you go into a bye week. If you lose going into a bye week, yes, it sucks for that first day after losing. But then, this is your only time to rest. So you kind of just, you push it aside. I think it's the same thing. You're like, listen, I'm not going to let the business side wear down my family side. So I'm going to put that aside and just enjoy what Thanksgiving is, spending time with family and gobbling down way too much food. So then you have to worry about weigh-ins the next week.
There you go.
What would also suck on Thanksgiving is knowing that you're going to get fired after the game on Thanksgiving, which is what's going on apparently in Chicago with the Bears. This is maybe the worst bungling of a coach firing ever, where the report is out there that he's getting fired, but he hasn't been told. He's got to meet the media. Other coaches are meeting the media. What's the Orlando, I know you've had a weird firing in your day. What's that like? You can go through the Mike Martz situation, but what's that like for the players? And Matt Nagy's turned into a sympathetic figure right now. It's not fair. This is not how this should go down.
Yeah, it's always tough. Anytime a coach gets fired mid-season, or you just know he's going to get fired either mid-season or after the season, the morale in the locker room is a little different. You almost have to be selfish in the sense and say, hey, we're just playing for each other, because it can get really nasty. I remember when Mike Martz was going through his thing with the St. Louis Rams. He would pop. He was going through back surgery as well, so he would pop in and just say things about the organization, and it was complete chaos. And as players, we're kind of looking around like, hey, I'm trying to keep my job at this point and play well and make sure I do my job and let everything else fall where it may. So that, we just keep our head down and continue to work and play for each other and try to get wins. So, because, obviously going through that transition is always tough. And the organization, coach, and they make it public. What they're doing to Matt Nagy, I think everybody knows he's going to get fired, but to say it's a day after Thanksgiving and leak those reports are just ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I don't understand why anyone would put out like, listen, this person's going to be fired at a later date. Like, if you're going to do it, you might as well just do it and end the speculation. Like, I've always been intrigued, like when people, especially when you get towards the end of the season, like, well, after the season he's going to be fired. Like, well, then why not just do it now and, save all the questions and all the other stuff. I've never been a part of a mid-season firing. I have seen other coaches, complain about organization, which is always a weird dynamic when you're sitting in a meeting room. They're like, well, it comes from above that I have to do this. And it's like, I don't understand that. Like it's weird. But it is, it's one of those things as you go through it, like you understand that guys are going to get cut, coaches are going to get fired and hired and move around. And it sucks. If, everyone talks about, Matt Nagy needs to be fired and should be fired and all this other stuff, but to kind of like dangle him for a game, because now, like if he doesn't get fired after the Thanksgiving game, it's in the ethos that, hey, listen, we talked about doing it. And then if he does, you sit there and then you feel bad for him, like, oh man, you got fired after Thanksgiving. Like it's such a terrible time. Like I don't understand what the Bears organization is doing. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I think when you, as a player, one thing that we always thought, players get cut or fired every day throughout the season. So to see a coach go or something happen to a coach, it's just part of the business. As a young player, you just learn that early. Like when you may have teammates that's getting cut weekly or every so often, it's nothing for a coach to be fired. And we understand that I think we're adults or men in that locker room. We kind of see the writing on the wall as well. Like, hey, we're not winning. He's kind of losing the locker room a little bit. He's probably not going to make it throughout the year. So that was our take on it.
Did you feel bad for Martz at the time?
You know what? I saw the writing on the road. He was going through some different things with the organization. I think it was time for a change, per se, and I think he would say that today too. They just weren't getting along between he and the front office. It became extremely public and nasty. So you're like a kid in a divorce, man. Hey, you guys should just separate, be done with it, and move on. So I didn't feel bad for either party. I know I like Mike as a coach and as a man, but I think he would say the same. It was time for him to go.
So Orlando, you're just a classy guy. That I even today, hey, you're splitting the difference. You both have your 50%. I appreciate it. All right, hey, let's move on to a team that seems to have found their footing, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think we're all impressed that their defense has come so far so fast. Do we think the Super Bowl runs through Kansas City, or at least the AFC side of it? Or Nick, are you looking at the Chiefs like that right now with everything that's going on in the AFC?
With everything that's going on in the AFC, it's still wide open. You have no idea what's going to happen week in and week out. So far, it looks like KC is, finding its footing, which is a good time, as we're getting past midseason and getting to where you need to make that playoff push. The defense has come around, which was a big thing. And I think with the defense being elevated, I think Patrick Mahomes has had less of that feeling that he needs to go out there and just make these miraculous throws and win the game for him. He's been able to still do amazing things because he's a fantastic talent, but he's not putting the weight of the team on his shoulders. It's still going to take some time. I'm intrigued to see how, with the way that New England's been playing recently, they're going back to the way that the Bills started with Brady, playing great defense, running the ball. They still have two clashes with the Bills. Seeing where the Bills are, the Bills have been up and down. Are they going to find their footing? Tennessee, are they? This is going to be a great test for them this weekend, against the Patriots. So it's still wide open, and then Baltimore too is still in that mix. So I can't say that the road to Super Bowl goes through anybody, because no one seems to have put themselves right out in front and said, and shown like, hey, we're the big bad team of the AFC. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's wide open for me. Last week we were saying that the Super Bowl runs through Nashville, right? And then they go out and they lose to the Texans last week. So you just never know. The AFC is wide open. Everybody had Buffalo. So it's a week to week. This week it is KC because they did. Their defense played really well against the Dallas Cowboy offense, which I'm still a little uncertain on. I don't know if it was good Kansas City defense or just Dallas just played awful offensively and didn't do what Dallas normally does. But yeah, I think right now, just because Patrick Mahomes and what he's capable of, the weapons that they have with Tyreek Hill, and those guys. If they defense can play anywhere similar to what they played this past week against the Cowboys, I would probably say City is the team to beat the AFC.
When you look around, it's the Buffalo thing is completely amazing. Nick, it sounds to me, just to follow up on that, sounds to me like you're a believer in the Patriots. Is that accurate?
I don't want to be. That's I don't. But they're doing the blueprint that I think Bill had started with. As Brady came into the league, and then he skyrocketed, and they kind of changed a little bit. The blueprint is playing fantastic defense, not making any mistakes, and running the ball. And that's what they're doing right now. And Mac Jones is working in there fantastically with the way that he's been able to make the right reads, get the ball out fast. Nothing crazy. Don't make mistakes. Let the other team make the mistakes, and we'll capitalize on it. And so I think this is going to be a good week to see are the Patriots, are they back? With Tennessee coming in, who has a great defense. I'm still not sold on their offense without Derrick Henry. But they still won some games without him. It's going to be a good test for them to see are the Patriots this imposing force. And then when they have 2 games against the Bills still coming up, and this Tennessee game, it could be complete opposite in 5 weeks, saying they're still not there, they're coming along. So right now it seems like they're trending upwards. What that means for the rest of the season, I don't know. But right now the blueprint looks pretty good.
Orlando and Nick, you can follow up on this. If Belichick does this and wins a Super Bowl with rookie Mac Jones and putting everything else together, is that more impressive than Brady leaving New England, going down to Tampa, and in his first year winning a Super Bowl with the Bucs? Let's pit these two against each other. I love doing it.
I don't think so. I think what Tom did last year was remarkable. To go to a new franchise year one with different pieces, a multitude of different pieces. Obviously that's probably never been done before in the history of the game. What Bill has done, and even if he does it with a rookie quarterback, we've kind of seen this play out a little bit with the 6th round guy and Tom Brady go ahead and win the Super Bowl. So we know his system works, right? If he has the right pieces and they play good, solid defense. But to go down into a completely new organization year one with so many different pieces and still be able to win a title down there is still, I think it's probably the best thing that's happened in the National Football League in terms of surprises for ball clubs and organizations. So,
yeah, I hate to not be the contrarian here, but I'm with Orlando completely. I think watching Tom go down to a whole new team, whole new organization, a whole new staff, new teammates, and be able to put together a Super Bowl run and win it, I think is so much more amazing than a coach who has the system, has been doing it for 20 years, to be able to plug the right people in and repeat the success. I think Tom wins out easily. I think the biggest thing that it will reinforce, if Bill is able to do it, and I don't think he will. I think it's a feel-good story, but I still just don't see a rookie quarterback winning a Super Bowl. Is that it is a Patriot way. And that is a formula for success. And, we always, when Tom was leaving, we're like, well, is it the Patriot way or is it Tom? And, that argument back and forth. And I think if he does it and if Bill pulls it off, I think the argument, instead of, which one was it the Patriot way or was it Tom? I think it now becomes both. The Patriot way works and Tom works. And so I think that's kind of where we'll see. I think they're trending in the right direction. I still don't see a rookie quarterback winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the next 3 weeks, including this game against Tennessee, and then those 2 against Buffalo, will tell a lot about, obviously if he's prepared, he'll be battle tested. But, those are 3 good teams that, obviously if he comes out on the other side with the victory of those teams, you have to start thinking maybe there's a chance if he plays well in those 3 games. And see if there is. But playoffs is so different, and Nick, you could attest to this. there's a different level. You're more scrutinized. They have more tape on you. There's different things that defensive coordinators can take advantage of at that stage of, in the playoffs so it'll be difficult. But if he does it, man, I think to your point, Nick, they're both really great at what they've done. I think they needed each other, but they also did it without each other. So it'll be interesting to see if he does that.
Let's stay in the AFC, but I want to move over to Cleveland. And this is a really interesting study because credit Baker, I guess, for wanting to be on the field, but this dude is injured. He's playing terrible. They're lucky to get by Tim Doyle and the Lions this past week, and they're getting smoked. And the Browns have a huge decision to make. Do you pay Baker or go into the, we have to find our quarterback? This is a nightmare. Scenic Mangold and the New York Jets land. So I don't know what you do here with Baker Mayfield. I mean, Nick, are you paying him?
I think you got to look at the total body of work. If he is injured and trying to play through it, I understand that mentality. I always believe that me at 50% was better than anybody else at 100%. That was always my thought process. Probably not true, but that was my theory on it. So I was always willing to fight through. But their coaches have to have a realistic expectation and say, listen, if he's injured and it's prohibiting from him performing at the level that we need him to perform, that's on the coaches. They got to shut him down because the player is not going to do it. The player, if he has that mentality that he thinks he's best, no matter what he is, even if he's got like a leg dangling behind him, the coaches need to understand that and say, hey, listen, you're not playing, you're inactive this week. That's just the way that it's going to be. And so as a front office, you got to look at it and say, listen, is this because he's injured playing bad, or is this kind of the body of work? And that's what we're looking at. And this is the best, we're topping out here and we're not getting any better. If you think you've topped out and said, hey, listen, this is as good as it's going to get. And then knowing that the quarterback carousel is so hard, trying to find that player. It's going to be interesting because I don't think he's not going to command top dollar. And this is where we've gotten weird in the NFL is we've erased the middle class of quarterbacks. You have the rookies and the first year contract guys, and then you have your superstar, high end guys. You really don't have this middle class of quarterbacks. And I would put Baker Mayfield in the middle class of quarterbacks. I think he could be paid somewhere, obviously above first year contracts, but he's not getting the ridiculous contracts like you see with Patrick Mahomes and those type. Is he willing to take that? And that's where the negotiation part is, because that's what I would offer him. I would offer him a middle of the road, incentive base. If he does actually, get him to the promised land, those type of things, it would work out for everybody. Is he willing to accept that? And I that's the big question that nobody knows.
Yeah, if I'm the Browns front office, I would have to look at the entire landscape of what's available to me. I'm calling Green Bay, I'm calling Aaron Rodgers' agent, I'm calling Russell Wilson's agent, and see if there's an immediate upgrade that I can get at a maxed out price that is a better fit than what Baker's given us. I don't think I would go to the draft to get a young quarterback, but I would look at those free agents out there and see, hey, is there a guy out there that's better than Baker? Because what they've done in Cleveland is they've provided him with all the talent in the world. They receivers, they have a great offensive line, a run game, and you're still not winning ball games. So that points directly at the quarterback. So if there's a situation or a player out there where I can upgrade a veteran guy, I'm placing those calls and see if we can get a deal done. But the alternative is, hey, we may have to pay this guy, try to develop him some more and see if he can get us over the top at some point. But always, I wouldn't sign him to a long-term deal, maybe a franchise tag, 1-year deal to see if there's more options out there. I don't think long-term Baker Mayfield is the answer for the Browns. So I think they'll always be searching for the next couple years to see if there's a guy out there that they can pick up.
That was a very, very well-balanced Baker take. I liked it. Hey, here's a middle-of-the-road contract. By the way, that's an insane amount of money that your family's family is going to live well if you take care of it right. So if I was in Baker's spot, that'd be a hard thing to turn down. All right, here, let's do a little buy or sell, guys. The NFC is wild. So is the AFC. I mean, it's just so much parity in the league right now. I got 3 5-5 teams in the NFC: the 49ers, the Saints, the Vikings. Any of the three, all the three, who are you buying? Who do you like the most, though, of those three? At least pick one. If you're selling them all, give me your top line. Orlando, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at the NFC, I would have to say out of those three teams, I would go with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not a huge believer in Kirk Cousins, but obviously they have receivers, they have a running game. They've shown more spurts than most of the other two teams. And in New Orleans, you just don't know what you got at the quarterback position. You don't know if they could go. They have a good defense, but I don't know if they could do much with that. So for me, it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I think they could possibly make a run if they get on the road, win 3 or 4 games here down the stretch. I think they have an opportunity to make the playoffs and maybe do some damage in the playoffs once they get in. So.
Yeah, of those three teams, that's the obvious sell is the Saints. They don't have a quarterback. It's not going well. That defense that was playing really well isn't anymore. So those, I got to push them aside. The safe choice seems to be Minnesota, but I'm gonna go with San Fran as my buy. I think there's potential there. They're starting to come alive a little bit. If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have sold them immediately as well. But they keep showing some good things. So I think for now, it's tough because it's a toss up between the two of them. I don't think it's like, I think I'm with the riskier bet. Like, I think the safe bet is Minnesota. I want the riskier bet because I think it might get me a higher reward, and I'll take San Fran.
I got 3 6-4s for you in the AFC. One is coming off a solid win, and that would be the Bengals smoking the Raiders, but the Raiders seem to like they are on vacation. And then we got the Bills coming off a terrible loss to Indy, and then there's the enigmatic Chargers. Buying or selling on those three, Nick?
Those are tough. I'm not going to sell any of them because I think they all have potential there. The Chargers, I still think the Bills seem to have these fluke games. Like, giving up 5 touchdowns to a guy seems ridiculous. Losing to Jacksonville 9-6 is ridiculous. But then they go and they, dominate teams. And so I don't know what to do with the Bills. Out of those, I love the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow. I'm a big fan of his. I think their wide receivers are fantastic. They're doing something good in Cincinnati for the first time in a long time. And so I'm going to buy them and hope that my Bengals are moving on up.
Yeah, for me, I like to buy all three of those teams too. For one reason on all three of them, they have all up and coming quarterbacks, young quarterbacks. When you look at it, Joe Burrows, is playing phenomenal down there in Cincinnati. Justin Herbert out in LA is playing great. So all those teams, they could go on a nice run. Obviously based on their play, and obviously Josh Allen in Buffalo, but just they could all go on great runs because they are young, they're talented, they have good surrounding cast around them. It's just a matter of, can they tie 2 or 3 games together with some big wins and see if they can go. So I love to buy all 3 of them, but I do like the Chargers out there and what they're doing out there, man. I think they're playing a good brand of football out there. Obviously they could possibly make a run.
Is Buffalo still a Super Bowl contender in your mind? I mean, Vegas win bet says yes, but I mean, to Nick's point, you don't know what you're going to get week to week.
Yeah, it's just the inconsistency, but that's the league now. So you have to wait till the later weeks in the season to see who gets hot, and that still doesn't mean anything because everybody's beating everybody at this point. So obviously their upside is a lot higher. I think because just with their talent, their defense, their receiving core, everything that they have, I do believe they're a strong contender to win the championship.
You look at, we talk about the Patriots and the test that they have coming up with Tennessee and then having to play the Bills. I think on the flip side of that too, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of the Bills are going to have a big test against New England. And so while, everyone's thinking like, oh, New England, you got to prove it against the Bills still have to prove it against New England. And so I think we'll know a lot more after we get through those two games, that home and away series where, if they look like the good Bills, we're going to be all over and be like, yeah, listen, the playoffs run through Buffalo. If, we get the bad Bills, be like, well, they're done. Now New England's got the division. So it's going to be, they're just so inconsistent, like everybody else in the league. I mean, we obviously don't have anybody that has put themselves out there and we're the best team in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them.
Let's make some money based on that living in the I don't know land, which the struggle is real. Y'all coming up 1 and 2 weeks. We gave you a good line on the Baltimore thing, which moved well, which gave you a win after Lamar went out. So congratulations on that. Big man bets. We were kind to you there. And Nick, you should, Orlando, you should have gotten double for picking the Lions and running with Tim Doyle. So that was a solid week. Orlando's coming in 15 and 16. Nick is 18 and 13. So we're still battling to the end here. Nick, you could start here. Your pick of the week. Go to WynnBET, WYNNBET.com for all your gambling needs. Week 12, Turkey Day is available, or you can wait till the weekend. Where are you going?
The games on Turkey Day just stink so bad, so I'm gonna hold off. I think it's gonna be my own personal plays, but I'm gonna hold off. Although the Bears Lions seems like under is the guarantee of the century, but I'm staying away from it. My pick this week, though, I think Tom is now on his warpath, and this is the next step is the Colts, so he's going to a dome. I like the Bucks -3 versus the Colts. I think he's switched on, and when you get an angry Tom Brady, he's going to get you some wins. So I'm following the Buccaneers.
Yeah, my game of the week is I have Carolina Panthers versus the Miami Dolphins. Cam Newton and the energies he's brought to that team, he played extremely well. I think they go to Miami and win outright. I know they're getting 1.5 points on the game, so I'm gonna go with Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers for my game of the week pick.
All right, up. I like it. I like even more upset of the week. If it doesn't sound like Nick will do it, but will anybody say that the Bears are going to play for Matt Nagy on the way out the door here against Detroit, Orlando? That would be you, or you have the board to go anywhere else with your upset of the week.
Oh yeah. My upset of the week, I got the Titans +6.5 over the New England Patriots. I think that's a great game coming up this week. Patriots need to bounce back. I think they run the ball. I think they, they play and they bounce back and get a win versus New England.
Yeah, I like that because I think it is going to be a closer game. So that's a good pick. I'm going homer pick here. I'm taking the Jets +2.5 versus the Texans. The Texans got to win. They're riding high. I think they're going to be feeling themselves a little bit too much. Jets are getting Zach Wilson back. The defense needs to step up, and I think the Texans are a good opportunity to step up. So I'm taking my Jets. It has not been good this year to do that, but I got hope.
I like when you go home base. That's a beautiful thing. Let's give the Jets a little love right now. And lastly, let's do our over-unders. Let's take a look at the number this week. Nick, you can go first.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to that Patriots-Titans game. Both teams have fantastic defenses, and I think it's going to be a defensive battle. So I'm going under 45 for the Patriots-Titans game.
Nice. For me, my over/under Los Angeles Rams versus the Green Bay Packers, 48. I am taking the over on that game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both offenses need to stand up and play, some pretty exciting football. I think it'll be a shootout and it'll be over 48 points. In the code in Green Bay.
we say goodbye on this Thanksgiving edition of Big Man Bets, the number one thing that you have to have, the absolute non-cut on your Turkey Day meal, Orlando, what's absolutely has to be in there?
My wife makes a fantastic sweet potato souffle that's second to none. So it's great. I need to have that every Thanksgiving just to couple with my great turkey, my fried turkey, which is it'll be a great meal. She does a great job with that. So.
I don't want to pick one. Like, how do you pick one? That's if I got to go one, I will go with it's. We don't have it any other time of year. The green bean casserole. Ooh. I love green bean casserole. You will not get that off my Thanksgiving plate. That is by far the best side dish on the plate.
To take you out of the pan, you can go top three, Nick. Give me your top three.
Okay, well. I mean, so we are also frying a turkey, and we're smoking a turkey breast. So the turkey's going to be kind of, up there this year. You got the green bean casserole. My wife makes this fantastic mushroom dish that has some cayenne in it, so it's got a little heat to it. And I mean, I all of it. Yeah, and then mac and cheese. We started doing mac and cheese probably 10 years ago, and we haven't looked back. I love mac and cheese on the Thanksgiving plate.
Nice.
Orlando, anything you need to add on because I gave him more options, or are you just good?
I'm good with everything that we make. Obviously I don't turn down much, but everything's good. So I can't complain. There is an apple cranberry pie that this market does up the street from me that I pick up every year. That's awesome, warmed up with about 10 seconds in the microwave, and then some ice cream on top of it, which is great. So one of my favorite dishes.
Everyone's hungry.
Everybody's hungry.
Gentlemen,
let's go, Thanksgiving.
Let's go. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We appreciate you checking out Big Man Bets, and enjoy the football, enjoy the meals, and gentlemen, we will see you next week for Week 13. I was going to say a prayer for Matt Nagy. That's a little too dramatic for me, but maybe it's going to taste different for some Chicago Bears fans. Maybe the leftover warm-up, if indeed the coach is gone, which I know a lot of Bears fans will be are wanting to see. Good luck to Matt in his future endeavors. I'm going to stop talking. Great to see you guys. We'll see you next week.
All right,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.